Hello. It is Wednesday, which means it's the beat and greet. And we have a hell of a guest this week. Someone who's been making full use of quarantine. I mean, long before that, just been making waves, doing things down in Florida, ripple effects, and it's been making waves out east. I saw videos of her a long time ago on tables throwing down, and now I'm interested in the podcast she's doing, the radio thing she's running, all the collabs she's got going, and she's got a little background reveal today. So anybody who's been following this girl, you've seen, her podcast background, things changing. She's got a totally updated studio right now, so we get a little reveal too. So not to feel too special out there, but hey, guys. So without further ado, let's bring out Lizzy Jane. All right. Hey, 1 second. So. Yeah. I just
sick.
Quick audio fix.
Okay, cool. No worries. What's up, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on and on for the beat and greet. I'm excited to chat and listen to some tunes.
Yeah, well, we were having a good little conversation behind the scenes too, and
controversial conversation right there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been doing a lot of things, I guess, during quarantine, and you're from Florida, so they're kind of handling things a little bit differently. But you seem to be working just as hard as everyone who is cooped up. Have you been kind of locking yourself away, or have you been kind of living the Floridian lifestyle and maybe a little?
I've been doing a balance of both. Definitely being, cautious. I get tested, pretty often, and I see my parents, still they live in the same city as me. So it's nice, but definitely at the beginning of quarantine, I made the lists and the long-term and the short-term goals, and it was finish EP, keep the radio show going strong. For anybody who doesn't know, I have my own radio show called XO Radio, and I just started a podcast called the XO Podcast. It's all available on Spotify and YouTube and SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. I saw House of Swarm in the chat, and I just had him on the other day. I just had Bandles on. I have Must Die coming on. I have Born Eye on tomorrow, Al Ross. So it's going to be really sick, and the podcast was created to not only talk to artists but also talk to industry personnel such as event curators and talent buyers and managers and tour managers and agents and all that shit. So I'm really excited for that. That's one of the biggest takeaways from quarantine that I'm stoked about, aside from really just leveling up my production, because I've never had this much time to just be okay, you're in the room with each other and you're just going to learn and you're going to improve. And yeah, it's been really nice. And it's 2020 sucked ass, but it was definitely one of the best personal progression years I've had thus far.
Oh, absolutely. Even the studio got an upgrade too. So I mean,
know.
It's flourishing.
I was just telling homie here that for the first time ever, I have no roommates. So I have a whole creative space to myself, and I sat down yesterday. I had my desk everywhere and my acoustic treatment panels everywhere, and we're almost done, but I have this behind me. We're going to put some shelves up, and then I have some bass traps, and we're going to have an artist come in and just do a huge mural on the wall in front of me. Ooh. And it's going to be really fucking sick. And I feel comfortable streaming a lot more. We're going to do some of the podcasts live on Twitch coming up, all starting in February. I'm going to premiere the podcast as well as the radio show, as well as do some demo feedbacks like we are today. And I'm just stoked to have my own space. My puppy's right in front of me, and that's all I need. So yeah.
Damn. Wow, that's awesome, yo. So I'm glad 2020 has worked out that way for you, and seemingly a good amount of people too in that way. A lot of self-reflection and shit like that.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, people don't realize that you get so stuck in rotation, and this has been a year, especially for people in this industry, especially for multifaceted touring artists or people who travel on the road all the time, to really take a step back. And I think in people taking a step back, they either realized or had, to come to the consensus that they had some stuff to deal with. And it's really cool to see friends of mine kind of come out of whether it's addiction problems, whether it's personal problems, relationship problems, and they've made it to the other side. And I think if we were still wrapped up in that schedule, they may not be there right now. So I think there's always like, I always try and find like the lightness in the dark, and like even though this year sucked ass, like there are some cool things that we can take away from it, that like even our grandparents and parents have never been through shit like this.
Yeah, no, for real, it's absolutely insane. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, just like you said, we're over here like, oh, creatively flourishing, but just lifestyle changes and shit like that has been important for, I'm sure, a ton of other people too. But
Yeah.
is this all stuff that you've kind of wanted to do beforehand and just never got around to it, or you kind of just haven't had as much time to put attention towards it? Because you've been doing the radio show for like every
Yeah.
week for what, 2 years now almost?
For 2.5 years. I just put out episode 83 today. So like,
Jesus.
yeah, that's been around for a second. And like I want to say like the quality of guests are definitely starting to raise to this upper echelon of kids who are getting their first breaks, whether it's like with big labels or collaborations, and they're like really coming into their own. And I'm super stoked to have people like More Kismet, like Matt Doe, Bainbridge, Cosmos, Swarm, and like you look at them a year later and they're like doing the damn thing. And like that's really cool that I was able to kind of pick them up and have them do a guest mix for the show. But I think the podcast came about because in quarantine, I was like, I'm sick of fucking watching Netflix all the time, every day, watching The Office for the 20th time in a row, all the seasons. And I started listening to podcasts, and I was like, this is like uncensored honesty about like all the topics in the world. Like you can just listen to whoever. Like, of course, I love Joe Rogan. I love like NPR. I like Duncan Trussell. I like the Nerdist one, and then I was like, damn, these are really fucking cool. And I would like couldn't find a music one, and then I came across Mr. Bills, and I was like, that's fucking dope. I was like, that's what I want to do, but I want to have people on who are like industry professionals and like not just artists. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So we like came up with the branding, we came up with the logo, we kind of took like the XO branding and took it to the next level with kind of the icon and stuff that we have now. And what's really cool about it is I'm able to really get on guests. I mean, everybody on the back end knows like if managers don't think it's going to be a good look for their artists, most of the time they're not going to do it unless you have like a personal relationship with the artist. And a lot of the big people who I was even friends with, I couldn't really get to come on the EXO radio show. SoundCloud thing, it's more dedicated to up and coming artists, even though a lot of them are fucking huge now. But I can like have them on the podcast because the podcast is something that like doesn't really exist. Like I can think like Jaws, Mr. Bill, I do it, Taboo does it. And I think that's like it. And we all kind of do our own different thing, like our different approach to it. One's like comedy driven, one's information driven. And now I get to like have people on like fucking Must Die and Al Ross and Vandals and Mode Step. And like I think that's really, really fucking dope.
Yo, definitely. That's
So yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's getting to like use your network that I guess you've been kind of harnessing the last couple
absolutely.
years. Which how long have you been playing shows and kind of a pioneer in the Lizzy Jane the movement right now?
So I DJ'd my first show when I was 20. I am 24 now. Been producing for 3 years. And because before that I went to Full Sail, which I don't want to publicly trash or anything, but I don't think it was the wisest decision in the book. But I went to a traditional college first, but I got my degree in Foley sound. I did an internship with Pixar right when I got out of school.
Wow.
And I did engineering for metal bands. And I like helped as a studio hand. And then when I was in a band for such a long time, all through college. And I was like, all right, guys, like this isn't going to fucking work. It's really hard to get bandmates kind of on the same page. And unfortunately, like the post-hardcore metalcore scene is dying. Unfortunately, like right now, like, and as much as I love that genre and my like heart will always be with that genre, I was like, damn, like dubstep is cool. Like this is pretty cool. And I was like, until I got to the point where I realized that at a certain point I needed a team. I was like, I can do everything on my own. And I still do the majority shit on my own. And I think that's really important too for any like up and coming artists, is like realize that you don't like need a team, that like it's totally like okay to be self-sufficient in your own, and you shouldn't have a team until they can provide something for you that you can't do for yourself. And yeah, so then I started learning how to produce. I was already certified in Pro Tools, worked in Logic, did all that shit, but I had no idea how to do Ableton. And the mix sounds for dubstep and like the post processing and stuff like that is what I needed to learn. It wasn't so much of the composition wise, it was like how to create in Serum what I originally like heard in my head. So I really think though, even 2.5 years later, like the first time that I was able to do that was like last March, like right when we came into quarantine. So I went on a huge writing streak, and I like did the EP. I did the stuff with Born Eye. I did a bunch of other singles, worked with Cosmos, a few other collabs coming out with Purge, and I don't know. It's really really cool, and I love it, and I'm like fortunate enough to, you know, we're almost to the point where I do teach lessons and I do pick up freelance audio jobs, but it's really cool to finally be making income off of like what I'm doing as a passion, because it takes a lot to be even breaking even of like what you invest into it at like the start, you know.
I mean, if you had to put it into wage wise, it would be like the minimum wage divided by to the square root of.
I just got my first payout from Spotify ever. And I couldn't even buy coffee. I couldn't even buy coffee. Like that's like and my streams are doing super well. Like I'm always somebody that like I get people like pay to get the numbers to play the game and all that shit, and I just don't believe in that, because like the fake numbers aren't gonna like pay your bills and like all of that. So it's like it's definitely been a slow kind of climbing up Mount Everest kind of thing, but this like it's finally there and the listeners are finally there, and I was like so excited, and I was like, you knew this was coming. But some things that I've talked about on my podcast is what is really cool is you're starting to see all of these artist based labels popping up. That like all these artists are starting to really like, I know like some of the bigger artists are, but they also have guys who are like stepping in, and they're like technically businessmen, because a lot of people don't understand that even though this is like a passion and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm living my dream, da da da, like it is a business. And I think there's like a missing space in between the artist connecting it to the fact that it is a business. And that's why businessmen who have no artistic creative minds or abilities or passion for the art run our industry. And I feel like for the first time it's being addressed of like, hey, we should probably be getting paid more than like point, what is it, 0.004 or 0.001 cent a fucking stream. And I don't know, I feel like that starts with the artist first, and then it translates to the fans. Like they both have to put their effort forth,
of course.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see like what the next 10 years kind of pans out as, especially if we stay where we are right now, like in quarantine, like in a pandemic.
I think we're all getting so fucking well versed in everything too, you know, like we are becoming business savvy, you know. That used to be something that you had to go to school for, and now it's like we could watch a podcast, you know. There are business podcasts, there are moguls doing podcasts or master classes or whatever, so you could learn from these people directly and not get boned by the people who, you know, of course they're not going to give it up. They're not going to give it up easy. They're the predators almost, you know. We're the prey, you know.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. And it's gonna take like, it's definitely a long-term thing. The battle is long-term, not short-term. But yeah, like it's crazy. Like I can just find whatever I want. And it's like, this is stuff that our parents didn't even have, is like, I can go on and I can watch a guy trading stocks on Twitch or listen to stuff about Bitcoin on a podcast and start to take in all of this information. And it's like, people don't realize how much they're like listening to music or like, I mean, obviously listen to music, but like listening to music, like watching Netflix, like watching the same show over and over again, like I was doing, and instead like turn that off and put something on that you were like, damn, like I wish I could know about that. Like I wish I could like learn about that.
It's absolutely wild. That's why, you know, during quarantine, I'm so glad we have things like Discord and Zoom and stuff, and you could make these personal connections. It goes past the, oh, just watching them on masterclass or their YouTube video too. Like, you know, you're giving out lessons. You got to go in like an hour or two because you're giving out lessons
That's
too.
been
So
a huge thing. Yeah,
oof.
that's been a huge thing that's made it easier kind of coming through quarantine, is the fact that not only does like teaching kids make me a better producer and make me a better musician, but it's like super cool to be able to share your information and knowledge. And like half the time when I'm teaching lessons, it's like all these kids are aspiring producers and there's so much more to know than like just making the music, and to like touch on all bases is really cool. And that's why like when I started taking lessons when I was getting into it, I still take lessons. Like you can never stop learning. Like you can never stop learning about a new technique, a new whatever. And it would always be really cool how the artist would talk to me about like there's other things going on. And it's like when you look at this industry, and any like industry in music entertainment, there's like a piece of the pie. And like music is like a piece of the pie that should be bigger than it is, but it's just reality talking about it now. It's like you've got your music, your content, you're this, you're that, you're this. And like I was talking to Bandles the other day on the podcast, and Vishal was just saying that it's unfortunate that we live in an age right now where us as artists and DJs and whatever are expected to be consistent content creators, when the content that we really create is after months and months or years of work sitting in a studio, and like that's our content, but that's not enough for people anymore.
It just gets digested and pooped out in 2.5 minutes or however long you make
it. So it's just like, and it's like I see it all the time. It's like, why does the photo or the funny copy pasta tweet get more likes than like the music, Oof. But like that does start with the fans. I feel like there has to be, and it starts with the DJs too. It starts with us not playing the game, but it's so hard because it's like everyone would have to stop playing the game in order to make a change. And unfortunately, I just don't see that, happening too soon. But there's definitely ways to balance it out. And I think the more that people listen to it and talk about the matter and are open, like people are just too scared to step on people's toes nowadays. So it's like once you open that like can of worms and have the discussion, I think it's better than just like choosing to ignore it per se.
Absolutely. No, and I think, just kind of recognizing that and where you want to be in the game and where you want to kind of approach it and how you want to be perceived too, that's really important too, because like we don't all have to necessarily do that content war kind of thing. And, you have to kind of try it to know if you want to do it. And, do you want to kind of, exaggerated do you want to go with it? How far do you want to lean into certain things, and it becomes kind of like iffy if it's not authentic, and if it's not really you. And I think people could kind of sense that, or it winds up imploding in your face if you don't have like an authentic kind of brand to stand behind. But is that where you kind of seen your project like grow more so, is when you had like so much stuff to offer people and people could really like know who you are as a person?
I think there's like something special about it being relatable, like being relatable too. And I think that's why like podcasts and streaming and like unfiltered things get more attention, because it's more like relatable to as like a human. But unfortunately, I feel like the reason why everyone is like so the same per se right now in our industry is because I feel like there's this very small circle of what's like acceptable, and nobody wants to go out of what's acceptable. And that comes down to producing too. Like so much music sounds the same because everyone's following the same 16 bar by 16 bar by 32 bar structure. And it's like, oh, well, you have to produce like that to get your songs played out by bigger DJs so you can get somebody to follow you when you're posting press pictures, just like the other DJs posting press pictures against a wall. Yeah. And it's like, it's like, but it's like it's, I don't know. Again, like everything is opinion based. It's just like, I feel like I've taken a step back and I've been able to observe and look at things. And I'm guilty of it too. Like I'm not going to sit there and not play the game when I'm working every fucking day to be able to do what I love. But at the same time, it's definitely noticeable how similar certain things are starting to be. And I wish that people just kind of like Like, I think out of this quarantine, we've gotten boundary pushing music in a big mass of like more than we have in probably a few years, probably in more than a few years, because people aren't going to the club and listening to EDM. Like, people want actual cohesive bodies of music. And
Yeah.
that's where you
Oof.
see people like writing in the 7/8 time signatures and not writing a traditional song structure or using their voice or working with other collaborators. And I think that's really dope. And I just hope when everything opens up again, like, I hope not only are these people like paid attention to agent wise, but I hope we just do see some new names on the festival circuit, because it just like sucks having the same names, and like eventually these guys are going to get tired of it. And for the first time ever, I feel like we have the artists there that are making the quality music to take over like the Dons, like for the first time ever. And
Yeah.
and
Blend
those
the
people,
genres too, kind of
yeah,
introduce new stuff.
absolutely. And I think that's so cool. Like, I think the future of electronic dance movement dance music is moving in a direction of experimentation and like live performance things, like whether you're drumming or you're singing or you've got your keyboard or your MIDI controller up there. Like, I think that's where we're really going to see people move in the next decade, because it's just, we're finally seeing so many different genres of music thrown into EDM.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really cool. Like, I'm really excited. I hope the right people and like the big people pay attention to the wave so that like the mainstream followers can catch on.
Yeah, 100. I think it's gotta too, because it's just at the end of the day, it's like music. It's almost it can't. It's like undeniable if it's that good. If it's gonna change the culture, like can it fall through the cracks? Is like it's kind of that's rough to even stomach if there's been other genres that have kind of, I guess like you said, the post-hardcore though, it's kind of, it has a place in your heart, but it kind of fell below the waistline. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes it less culturally significant or what, but it is hard to think about. Some of our favorite genres kind of maybe falling to the wayside. Maybe electronic like is going to be, subgenres of electronic might fall under the same thing. It's kind of,
I
oof.
agree. I definitely think so. I mean, you think about like, I guess like bro step and like those very niche subgenres that really aren't like around that much anymore, but then you get these new like color-based future rhythm subgenres that are just like taking over now, that I don't really think would have ever happened if we were still open, because it's not like club banger music, but it's
Yeah.
like listenable bass music. Like, it's great cohesive like bodies of work. But like, going back to what you were saying about like the post-hardcore thing, is I just remember when my mom would drop me off at Warp Tour, and I would go into Warp Tour, and there would be like one EDM stage and like Breathe Carolina would be playing it, or like something like that. And then there'd be all these other metal stages like Bring Me the Horizon, A Day to Remember, Parkway Drive, all that shit. And then it seemed like as I got older, there would be more EDM stages and less rock stages. And then like now you look at it, like Warp Tour's gone, like it's done, it's canceled. And now you
Yeah.
have these huge, massive festivals that are just like 4 times of what Warp Tour ever was.
Yeah. Oof.
And it's just interesting to see the progression, but I always feel like history does repeat itself. So I'm gonna be interested to see like where we're at like in, like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, no, hopefully it's just booming too. And I think it's getting incorporated in so many forms of like big music too, like pop and hip
Mm-hmm.
hop and other things, that it's like it's hard to think that it would be kind of gone, in a few years, but who knows? I think just maybe totally evolved, maybe unrecognizable almost.
Yeah,
Electronic dance music.
absolutely.
I mean, what is electronic dance music? Everything is pretty much electronic these days, like
Everything.
mastered at least electronically. So does that
Mm-hmm.
mean it's electronic dance music? I don't know. You want to dance to everything, don't you? Like,
Right,
I don't
right.
know.
It's literally like, oh, you want to like dance to everything. And that's totally true. It's like we've gone from like an analog world to a digital world very quickly, like extremely
Yeah,
quickly. And it's like, why wouldn't you, for a fourth of the cost, a tenth of the cost, go to do everything digitally? Absolutely.
yeah,
And yeah, it's gonna be interesting, because it's like you think about even I think about like the newer pop music and the newer hip hop that's coming out. And I know a lot of people who are EDM producers who are, commissioned for making really, really big rappers beats right now, because they know that's the wave that's like coming in. And like even with dubstep and like post hardcore, all these guys on Disciple have like phase one has a song coming out on Friday with the singer of Silverstein, and like they just did
Oh
stuff with
shit.
North Lane, and so it's like I'm seeing all of these like singers. Spaghetti did one with Maddie Mullins, who's from Memphis Mayfire. So you're seeing all of these singers from these like post-hardcore bands come over to EDM, and they're like, oh well, I have a kicking voice, like let's do something.
Damn.
And so it's cool to see these genres start to collide, because it definitely didn't used to happen, or at least to the degree it does now.
Yeah, I don't think there was like a respect for it too, you know? Like metalheads are kind of hard. They're kind of I don't want to say pretentious, but they're like drum and bass heads too in our scene as well. It's
They
like
are. That's actually a
very
great analogy.
it's they're like almost kind of elitist about the genre and stuff. Maybe that's why it was like kind of it self imploded, was just because everyone was like, no, this is this type of metal and this type of metal, and it's like, do we need that, or can we just like enjoy what's going on? You know, can we like close our eyes and just fuck with the music, or like thrash around and fuck with the music? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It gets a little all about everything else, like the semantics about everything else than the actual music. And I don't know. It's been good to see that through the no shows, through the no money being made directly through music, that this scene is still really like thriving, and everyone's like, there is a new wave of people still like hungry for it. They're
There's
like, yo,
such a new wave.
dude,
There's
we're
a new
coming
wave
back.
even more than ever. I'm like, how the fuck would you want to do this after seeing this?
Bro.
And there's still a wave, but that means that the people coming in really love it.
Yeah.
And they're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, do it for the wrong reason, and they don't understand what they're getting themselves into. And from a faraway scene, from the best highlights on Instagram, it seems like a great life, and it is so fortunate to be able to do what you love, you know, for a career. But at the same time, there's more lows than there are highs, like I guarantee you. But like that's with anything in life.
Yeah.
But it's if you really take yourself, like, it's not if you really take yourself seriously, if you're doing it for the right reasons, I just don't think you're doing it to party and be like a hot shot and like all that stuff. Like, you're doing it so you have a platform to share your art or share your voice and like connect
100%.
with people. And like I wish that was just like, I think it starts as everybody's main focus, but when people get to a certain level, I think some people get like lost. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's easy.
You know?
It's easy to, especially with everything going on too, where we're all fighting for the same festival slots, and we all want to be, you know, perceived as this guy. You hear, oh, this guy had a great set, and you're like, but you know, what about my set? You know, you're like, it's almost like an ego thing. It's kind of competition based, you know, as much
Yeah.
as much as it shouldn't be. It kind of is, but that's what you got to strip away. And I think it's kind of helped bring is more of a, oh, what am I in this for? You know, is it because I want a
Absolutely.
platform,
And of
or what?
course it's hard. Like, of course it's hard when you have agents and talent buyers sitting down and you're literally like dissected by body parts for your data and like how much numbers you have, and you're being compared to somebody else's numbers right next to you on a sheet of paper. Like, how wouldn't you feel like it's a competition, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, like, they do it for the love of the music, but like I don't think anybody gets it unless they're like an artist, unless they're like in the room working. Like, I respect agents, I respect tour managers, I respect everyone, because like they put together the wheel that makes the industry run. But I think artists sit in a category of their own, where like their mentality is a totally different mentality than people thinking about like the numbers and this and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm reading the chat. I know metal isn't dead. I love metal. I listen to metal every single day. I just wish more people did. And I feel like there were more metal fests than there are now. That was like my point with it, was like, I feel like when I was coming up, maybe I was just little, I thought it was like such a bigger scene than it is now.
No, you know,
And-
it was though, and I think gatekeeping stops that. It like stops a new generation of people from getting into it, and then that just nips things in the bud, and then where does it grow? So you got to just hope someone picks it up from there. Whereas like, hopefully we're just more of a welcoming community too, because I feel like there's a little bit of gatekeeping in electronic, as much as it's built not
There
on
is.
that. You know,
There
it's
is.
like a gatekeeping thing. I think that might have been what was the downfall of metal, but I don't know. That's not for me to really speculate. But I just
Well,
hope it doesn't happen with what we got going on.
I hope it doesn't either. And that's where like I feel like it starts with the non-artists or the artists working at the labels or the management or the agencies. But like, I know you see it as well. It's like you see somebody get picked up by a management company, they get fed into the agency. And they get picked up by this person, they get fed into the agency. Or they're roommates or best friends with this person, and then all of a sudden they're doing this, and then all of a sudden they're fed into that, and they're on the touring circuit, and they're playing a 50-date tour with one original track, you
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, that's my definition of gatekeeping, and I try not to be resentful to it, because it's going to happen in any industry. It doesn't matter where you're working. There will always be people who have connections with somebody higher than you, and of course they would use it. I would use it if I did too. But that's what scares me about the gatekeeping, what I saw becoming very bad before the pandemic. Like and the battles that the agencies have, and it's like, it gets like gritty, it gets like dirty, and like, I totally get it, but at the same time, I just wish there was more of a respect for the actual art of it. And that's why I love these like smaller boutique festivals that had started to take place, because they really curate their lineup, and they don't have any like two of the same artists, and all of the people playing are real producers, and they're real artists, and they really like bring something to the table to offer their crowd. And I think there's something super special in that you don't necessarily get from the huge festivals, where they're basically just buying agency rosters.
Oh yeah. Bundles, you get put in a bundle, and it's almost like you didn't even get picked. It's just like because they wanted the big guy that's on your agency
Or they
roster.
bargained. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Well, you'll take our 20 small guys, and we'll give you the big guy, okay? And then the festival's booked. That's it. That's it.
Hey, I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with that at the time either, too. I was like, as long as we're getting the bookings, as we're getting the exposure to play, I'm not going to let that opportunity fall wayside,
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
as long as you make the use of those opportunities. But, I mean, it does kind of seem like a flawed system, It seems like a weird little, I guess like we started talking about gatekeeping system, just based off of that, bookings and everything too. But I mean, hopefully not by fans, hopefully not by producers and stuff, because I think that's where it really starts to get muddy water. We expect that from the industry almost.
There's a huge muddy area where you're just like, ooh, like, should that be happening? Probably not. I'm just gonna look the other way and walk away.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like, though, like, not a lot of the gatekeeping issues, but I feel like a lot of issues like within our scene during the pandemic were kind of confronted. Whether it was like individuals doing things that like are not okay, or X, Y, and Z. And like, I think our community, like any other one, you don't realize how small it is until you're really at a festival and you look around and you're like, wow, this is everybody in EDM. Cool. And like, I just don't think that there's so many overlooked artists that are just so amazing. Like, I'll go down the SoundCloud hole and I'll just be like, this kid has 20 followers and he's literally making fucking bangers. I'm like, holy shit. And like, those are the kids that I have come on XO Radio and like that stuff. But it's like, it's no one thing in your career in this industry is going to make you. Like, it's a consistency and like a long-term thing of music releases and content and, podcasts, streaming, all of that stuff that leads to the one little bit of luck you got, but you're only getting that one little bit of luck because you worked 1,010% to get there.
It's insane.
And, so it's just like, I hope these people don't get overlooked. And it's just like, I hate nothing more than like when like, because I've seen it happen to my friends, and I've seen it happen to other people where like big producers hit up small producers and they're like, I really fuck with your stuff. Like, can you send me stuff? And then they never like respond back, and they never want to credit them, and they never want to do this. And it's like, that's what I think is fucked. Like, that's like some stuff that I just like don't enjoy. And I think that it takes people at a higher level to change it. You're always going to have like bad eggs, but I think moving forward, hopefully when people stop being like mad at the world and like our country opens up, hopefully like before the end of 2021, that we can reflect and move forward in a positive manner, and just try and be a little bit more like, not just like holding people accountable, but just like being honest with people. Like, if your friend's going through something, like, don't wait until it's too late to tell them they have a problem. Like, if their friend's doing something that's wrong and you're like, hey man, like, maybe this isn't the best, but like, I'm just telling you because I care about you. Like, that's the stuff that I feel like we all need to start doing, and like team members of artists and teams of artists need to do, because we've lost way too many people in too short of a time for us to like look the other way,
Yeah. Whether it be one thing or another, too, like lives being lost or reputations being lost, it's like, all right, we
Yeah.
gotta kind of rebuild from here too. So it's on all of us, and it's been really like a positive kind of reinforcing feeling to the future of this kind of thing. So luckily, we
And
do have
it's cool.
of that at least.
Yeah, and they're like, there's so many good people too. It's like people want to see the bad people, and I get it. Like one bad person can ruin it for a whole group, but there's so many good people, and there's like so many good artists and good agents and good X, Y, and Z that I really do feel like there's enough to like carry the goodness and like hopefully leave an impression on people where we can progress instead of go back to, you know, the way that the cycle was running and everyone was just like going the other way.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's like a big hope in humanity. I think, you know, it's not just because the inauguration or anything like that. I think it's just a long time coming of
I just feel like a big sigh. Like nothing's solved. I'm still in my house.
Yeah.
Like nothing is like, you know, cities aren't open still
gotta
like
figure it
out of
out.
Florida. But like, you know, hopefully it gets better, and I really do think it will. But it's not going to happen overnight, and I think that for the first time ever, like most of the people who hold, I don't want to get all political, so I'll say this and then we'll go on to the next thing. But most of the people who hold these like very high up political positions didn't live in a time where the internet had such a substantial impact on who they were, or the impact that it has of them tweeting, doing whatever, goodbye orange man, on like social media, talking to people and like preaching to people. And that's why it's so important who you vote for, even from like the mayor all the way up. And I think people understand the importance of that now. And I also think politicians understand that like they're going to be held accountable. And I think that's good. That's a good feeling, because that means that like it's kind of like, oh, like if your mom was watching, would you really do it? Like da 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 da. So like hopefully they have that feeling, and they keep progressing and they actually stick to the shit they're going to do. But for the first time ever, we actually have the House and the Senate and the executive for the next 2 years will be able to get shit done. Hopefully that will help our country move to, you know, a better standing place than the disaster it's at now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we could all hope too. We were talking about making a little small corner of it a little bit better. I guess being the bass music or electronic music or whatever that encompasses. But
Yeah.
hey, if that could flood out to whatever's going on outside and have a reflection of what we got going on, I think that's super important too. Is that what you're trying to put in your music at least too? Like I know you're singing on your stuff too.
Absolutely. I actually just had a track with Born and I drop on Disciple Roundtable this past Friday, and it was like a really emotional track. And I think it was weird because it was like spoken word dubstep, and I didn't think in a million years the Disciple was going to take the track. And they were like, we love it, we're going to wrap up our compilation with it, da da da. Like Born Eye's a very established name like in the community. He's fucking awesome. My podcast with him drops tomorrow, and you know, it just had a message, and it showed me that like I don't have to be scared, because I've been singing a lot of stuff, but it's been more like traditional songwriting, and of course there's like emotions and messages through it, but I was never being very direct like he was direct. And I was like, damn, like they like it, like they're really resonating with it, and it's got this like revisibility and restreamability aspect to it, where no matter where you're at in your life, you can listen to that and it'll like bring you to a better energy and bring you to a better place. And I hope people, you know, start to realize that not only in their music, but like their personal platforms, we have platforms, and like we should use them, and we should use them to better our society instead of just kind of playing the game and posting whatever and doing whatever. Like you may lose some followers, but like you don't want them anyways. You don't want toxic people anyways. So just like wave goodbye to them. Like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
No, 100%. It's like that's why I had to ask if it was quarantine that kind of put you there, or you know, just you reflecting on a little bit of what you want your project to say as a whole. But I know you've been doing it with, you know, putting artists on or giving, you know, getting. It's a mutual thing. You know, you benefit from these artists giving them your work, and you benefit from they benefit from you with your platform too. But you know, you do a big symbiotic thing of trying to make a positive community. So I didn't know if it was new that you implemented that in music and lyrically, or if it was something you kind of went into this?
It's like always been a thing because that's kind of like, of course I go through hard times and like I try and be transparent with that as well. I think everybody does, but I'm generally, I would like to say like a good 80% of the time, a pretty optimistic person. And I really didn't know, like when I first started, I was like, damn, like I'm coming into like this angry dubstep scene and like I'm a lover and like I don't really know how to combine the two and make people understand my message and all of that. And I think with like the development of like EXO radio and like even like the color palettes that I work with and now the podcast and like the way that my music is progressing, it's very easy for people to see the full picture. And if you follow me on any of my social media, like I do the same preaching like every fucking day. And the people who like it stick around. And if they don't, then it's not for them. I don't take things. I'm trying not to take things personally. I want to say I did not that I don't. I'm trying very, very hard to not take things personally because, you know, you're able to have a different opinion than someone and not they're not your enemy. You just have a different opinion than them. Like it's healthy to have people that don't agree with you and that have different opinions than you. That means you're well-rounded. That means that your worldview is going to be different and more exposed and make you think about some things than having people all by your side that believe the same shit that you do. And I think that's something that I just kind of try and push out. And we're finally at a point where it's like very cohesive and everybody like gets the picture, but it took us like 4 years to get here.
Hey, as long as we're here, dude, 4 years in the grand scheme of things, that's actually not too bad,
long.
you know?
No, it's not that bad.
No, I think we're on track. But I mean, hey, on that note, I know you got to go in a little bit. Do you want to get to maybe some music?
Tracks.
All right.
Yes.
We got a couple in here. So I'm just going to do a random number generator. Actually, we've never done this random number generator. But I'm gonna see how it works. There's like 13 tracks in here.
Oh, that's sick. I love it.
We gotta see. Bada bing, bada boom. Number 11. So right from the top, 13, 12. Kilo. All right, let's see what Kilo's got for us.
Let's do it.
All right, so once again, we got the Lizzy Jane command too. Make sure to follow.
Sick. Thank you guys. I love the chat. This is like chat goals. Like I love people having conversations and like commenting. It's nice. It's like you built your own little like community, and that's I feel like that's like the goal as like a Twitch streamer.
Oh yeah, no, dude. This quarantine it's been really good. That's why it's been giving me a little bit of hope for the future of the music industry, you know. And I envy the people who do it even without this kind of thing, without this kind of reassurance, like we were talking about, the next generation, and they kind of have inspired me a little bit too, you know, kind of made me get back on track. I'm like, oh shit, all right, I got to do it for the love of it again too, you know, just remember the roots and stuff, you know.
I like this literally makes me like miss streaming. I'm starting to stream with an actual schedule at the beginning of February. Like I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna not force myself to do shit that I hate on stream because I suck at video games. I tried that. It was so embarrassing. I said never again. My boyfriend just got the Nintendo Switch and it's the first game that I'm ever good at, even though I still suck at Mario. I suck at it. But there's like some Street Fighter game that I'm like really kick ass at. So we've been playing that.
All right. Yeah, I was trying like RuneScape and some stuff, and I'm like, listen, I'm just gonna stick to producing.
That's literally, I was like, okay, this is an epic fail. Nobody wants to watch me die in 1 second over and over and over again.
Well, you never know. Could be some weird like fetish thing that people got. I don't know.
Right?
Twitch is getting a little weird too. There's a side of it.
Oh my god, there's like a black hole in Twitch. That's why I'm like, I come on, I put in the username, and I go, and that's like it. That's it.
Yeah, you gotta let them know, man. There's a whole like section of people on this that kind of
I can't even imagine.
Oh, like
I don't know how they
cam.
don't get. I know. I was like, I don't know how they don't get their stuff like taken down. Because like sometimes I'll see it on my home screen, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, oh my god, okay. But you know, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's oh wait, are you hearing that?
I hear it.
Oh, okay, weird. I didn't even know that was playing in the background. Sorry, excuse me.
Oh, okay, no, you're good. I just heard it though, only like just a measure of it.
Okay, word.
Yeah.
Let me maybe. Okay, that's why I was half volume. Word, I was just hearing it too. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the music. I guess we'll send you on your way in a little bit. So let's get through as much as we can, I guess. But,
perfect.
Hey, we got Kilo Dimension right now. All right. Sound a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. That's cool.
Damn, all right. That was pretty thick one.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I know. All right.
Damn.
You go first. You want you to go first? You want me to go first?
I would just say maybe a little more variation in the snare is like the first thing that I really kind of could think of, especially in that second drop. It was like maybe just some drum rolls or some triplets or something. But I kind of like the vibe. The mix down seemed good. But if you got something you wanna get off your...
Absolutely.
Let's go.
I just want to let everyone know that I'm hearing this in mono.
Yeah.
So just for everybody to know, so I'm not sounding like tone deaf. I really loved, like, after the first 16 bars and the drop or first 8 bars, you had like that hi-hat groove kick in, but it was kind of like stagnant. And I think it would have been really cool if you continued with the hi-hats. I don't know if those were like triplets, but you could have those like running on 16th notes or something. And I really feel like that would help the like momentum of the track. And I think whatever you had in the buildup, I don't know if it's the main bass you're using or if it was more of like a saw wave. I couldn't exactly hear it. But if you like threw some erosion or like a frequency shifter on that, and then like reutilize that to keep it cohesive in like the second half of the drop or the second half, that would be like really dope. And like the frequency shifter could add some variation to it along with like the drum beat continuing. But I loved the lasers that you use, and I love the like vocal samples. I thought like the atmosphere was like spot on for like the subgenre.
Yeah, no, definitely very thick and sounded wide. So, you know, the mono thing was actually a test. We just wanted to see if you could tell the difference. So I'm going to turn that stereo on right now. But it's
okay,
it's because I don't have a Zoom Professional. I think I got to pay for it. So
oh yeah,
me.
no, you're fine. Oh my God, no. I just wanted to say something, and I didn't want them to be like, oh, they were there, and I just like didn't hear them.
Yeah, no, I think it was a little bit more spacious than definitely than you could hear in mono. But yeah, you might be a little bit more
enabling stereo
right.
on Zoom is such a bitch, dude. I remember the first time I had to do it. You have to like go online, you have to pay for the membership, then you have to enable it online and then re-sign in. And then like re-download Zoom. It's a bitch.
See, I never would have known. I just would have paid for it and then just would have been in mono still.
Right? Yep. Yep.
But hey, that was quality advice too. You know, you can never really get too wide, especially with that subgenre. It's always like really nice to have so much like space.
Like fuck around with like auto pan or like some shit. Like I feel like in this like subgenre, like the details and the subtleness are like everything that makes the song, because like the main concepts are very like not simple, but like they're clean and they're like repetitive. But if you did that like small variation of stuff and like introducing new elements, then you'd be like on point.
100%.
The mix sound was clean. I could hear that through mono. The mix sound was super clean.
Yeah, no, good job, Mr. Kilo. All right, so let's try to get through one or two more. We'll do this random number generator once again. 12 tunes. Number 10.
Number 10.
All right. It was at grayscale though. So, who is this? Oh, Looney O.
Let's do it.
All right, yo. And let's get Stupid Fried after, because he gifted a sub to you. And the man's, I heard the tune. I accidentally listened to it beforehand. I don't normally do that. I don't know why I clicked on it, but I was like, wait, is this the one that from this right here? So I like it. It's really dope, and he's super good producer, very versatile, and it's not like his normal stuff, so that's why I'm kind of gunning for it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So this one was what did I open? Oh, I opened grayscale, right?
Yeah, it looks like grayscale's on the board.
All right. Yeah. All right.
YV and grayscale. But which one are we listening to? The grayscale one?
Yeah, we'll listen to grayscale and then close off with Stupid Fried, if that's cool with you. That works?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, perfect.
Josh Teed, he's done an EXO radio mix for me.
Oh, bro. Oh, my God. When you were talking about, like, the mixing of genres and I saw him in chat, I'm like, this guy. He's like
the epitome of like what I'm talking about.
Dude, he's killing it, man. All right, so you already know about him. I don't have to feel guilty about not showing Josh Teed. He's got something coming up. No,
I know a lot about him. I had someone in, like, my group on Facebook is literally obsessed with him. Like they post, they're like, I listen to this EXO radio mix every day when I wake up and get out of bed. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, okay.
Dude, all right, perfect. Yeah. Wait, so it's out already, or?
Yeah, no, he did one for me a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago.
All right, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's somewhere in there, yeah.
Oh, nice, man. We just got hit.
It's a totally live mix, so it's like super, super cool.
Oh, wow. All right, man. This guy is he's so fucking talented, dude. The different kinds of violins and weird little string things, the Chinese one string thing I think he was doing. Like, oh my God.
It's insane.
All right. So
Tampa gang.
Yeah, we don't even got to listen to him. We're gonna give him big ups. All right, this is Josh T.
Yep, just do it.
All right. So this guy's from Brazil, Mr. Lunio.
Ooh, okay.
All right, this is who I meant. This is who won the randomized.
Oh, okay, sick.
Blood clot expensive and dear. We are here to bully you. We think Ghana run. Ghana run what we say. We think blood clot global. and here. We are here to money up. We think Ghana abroad. Ghana, worldwide we say. We think blood clot global.
God damn.
Ew! That's fucking nasty.
Damn. I feel guilty about having you hear it in mono too, you know, because it's another one that's just
I
thick,
know. I was
wide.
literally about to be like, dude, if I heard this on like a PK system or something, that would be so fire.
Oh, dude.
But that was great. I want to clap you for your snare sample selection.
Ooh.
Big
Oh, I'll join too. Clap.
claps.
Yeah.
Because that snare was so nasty that I even want to hear it punch more through the mix. Because nasty. I would almost, I don't know if this would work, it may sound like shit, but I would almost try and add like a transient kick underneath the snare. Or like if you have like Neutron or something, I use Neutron 3 a lot for like just analyzing my drums. And like it really, really helps kick it. Like if you're EQing it, doing whatever. And it sounded like in mono, of course. I would make sure that I'm, people, this is an unconventional way, but I always have my kick the same level as my snare. And like I feel like you could do that in the song if you didn't like layer it with anything, because I don't know, I feel like the snare like really makes the drop. I'm just like a snare makes or breaks a song for me. Like I'm a huge advocate on like drum samples and sample selection, because if you pick bad samples, you can't make bad samples good. So like the sample selection in that is fire. The only thing that I think maybe it's because I am hearing it in mono, I couldn't really hear the hi-hat groove. And maybe I would just recommend for anybody who's having problems with this, because we are working in like kind of a genre where everything is not traditionally like audio. We're going against all of the rules. So your hi-hat's going to disappear if you don't have like, I always do like a house delay, which is like a basic time delay to like push those hi-hats and percussion to the side just so it keeps that momentum going. Because I feel like percussion is such like an overlooked thing where it can like make or break the momentum of your drop and your track, because you might not necessarily be able to hear it, but it's still there like pushing the track along.
Oh damn! That was gas advice. Pretty, blanket advice that would work for a lot of different genres, a lot of different people too, but very specific to this one tune in particular too. Is it was like pushed. It was spatial where it needed to be, and then pushed pretty forward. So I think you have like the spacing down for most of the drums and shit. But yeah, I would have to agree. Maybe the snare just bump it up. Maybe it could even be just like maybe a little saturator, throw something like an erosion on it too, but very slightly, or just layer something under it. Maybe have some kind of like Foley effects maybe to help it really cut through like a glass break at certain times. But yeah, like I don't know. It seems really dope.
It was fire. I mean, it was fire. Like, don't get me wrong. Like that track has very little, I think, that has to be done to it for you to be like caps on, done track.
100%. Yeah, it even looks like very, very fucking girthy too. Huge. This part, not so much. I don't know,
Yeah. I literally do the same thing. Yep. I'll be like uploading whips and I'll just like do it for like 5 minutes, and then I have like all of the other drops that are like trash drops like a minute later, and they're like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, oh, just ignore it.
Yeah, there was like you were starting to give advice, and then there was like little sound design blips coming through like that. I was like, oh, gotta stop that.
Yeah,
no, but that. Hey, dope, man. I even was like listening to. I was listening to some of those too. I was like, oh, that's sick, because sometimes with the drums things sound totally different, and just dissecting them like that, you could get a better picture of how the thing is made. And it looks like the synths aren't even that pushed to the ceiling. Like you got the bass and everything pretty well mixed in there, but maybe just a couple little fixtures in the snare, and I think you're locked and loaded, bro. But yo, dope
Yeah.
stuff. Brazil's coming through. But all right, I know you got to go, so you want to do this last one and
let's
send
do
you
it.
on your way. All right,
And then we'll
this
do
one's
it. Yep, absolutely.
Mr. Stupid Fried. It's a Toki Monster remix.
Love her. I'm interested to hear this.
Dude, she kills it. All right, let's see what he's got.
Super fried. Stupid fried. There you go.
The boys think that I'm too hard and they think I'm too hard. Just cause they cry and leave home don't mean I don't cry, yo. I love you, but you blame me dumb. I love it, it's so real. Chasing other bitches and someone else's kingdom. You mad, babe. You've been sleeping good, but I've been awake. I've been putting work in. You've been late. Trying to get the fuck about this place. Baby, I don't know how it feels. Young girl with a big heart, yeah. Big dream is unreal. But I'm a young girl with a big heart on me. Me and my whole squad. In the cold, the sun and the nothing. And we fighting the odds. But I'm a young girl with a big heart on me. One day I'ma make it. One day I'ma cop my twin brother a Maybach. One day I'ma go back to my old high school and scream. Told you, Mr. Danis. I told you, Mr. Danis. Fucking told you, Mr. Danis. One day I'ma look back and be glad I never gave up. One day I'ma look back and be glad that I broke up with my jealous ass ex-boy. Man, he a hater. One day I'm my best. One day I'm my best. No, I know. Big heart, big heart, big. Dream. But a big heart, big heart. Sunday. Fight. Young girl with a big heart on me.
I've been thinking, know your place, snatching my face, trying to strip it away. They been seeming to be needed, but I seen that hate. Watching my play, you got balance to pay. I just get a big on keeping secrets in my guitar. Now you so begging to see I never had a head start, and I'm hustling on mama. I'm so grounded for a big star. Let my dad take it guap, rollies that don't TikTok. Baby, I've been in this game too long. Lemonade stones, feeling like Mike Jones. Bad bitch, give me take, I'm Don John. I spit poetry, no Lil Jones. And you gon' see me, but you never see my pain. Feeling strange when you're caught up in the rain. What you say?
All right, so a little bit definitely different of a vibe than the rest
that
of
was
usual
sick.
submissions and stuff. So he's a very instrumental kind of dude, and I like the use of vocals and stuff on this one. I didn't know it was a remix actually till I just listened back. So that was dope too. I thought maybe he was singing or something, but hey, I don't know. I've never heard the Toki Monster song, but
I haven't either. I just love Toki Monster. That was super, super sick. The only thing I have to say, like, that's a totally listenable song. I would listen to that over and over again, especially if I was working, doing whatever. The first, 4 bars, there's, I think, a keyboard thing or a pad thing that has, a harsh frequency, right off the bat. That was the only thing. That's, literally the only thing I have to say for the whole song.
was it was it the guitar or was that a separate part? Because
It was right at the beginning.
okay.
Right at the beginning.
'Cause
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking the same thing might have the guitar. I don't know if you
right
got
there. It's right there.
Oh.
Like that in my headphone. The dun-dun-dun-dun or dun-dun-dun-dun.
Okay.
That
right there.
has something between 6 and 10K. That's nasty.
Oh,
I would
shit.
recommend everybody download VoxSpan for free. It's a great spectrum analyzer, and it helps me all the time analyze any harsh frequencies that I have because I can see it pop up right away.
Yeah, no, dude, that was VoxSpan's definitely the move. And if you got any problem like spacing this one, I think I don't know if you use Coralongo, or I think that's how you say it. It shows you like phasing things that are phasing. So I don't think it's necessarily what's wrong with this sample. I think it's just maybe too time stretched or just needs
for
some
sure.
dynamic EQing.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it's pretty solid of a song. I think it's like a radio banger or
Definitely. It's definitely listenable. You're going to hate me. I have to go.
Oh, no, dude. I was about to send you off on your way too. I wanted to, just
I greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much
Hey.
for having me on. Your chat and your followers are absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Hey,
we will
thank
talk
you.
soon, I'm sure, again.
Absolutely. Hey, be well. Good luck on
Yes.
your lesson, and
Yeah,
we'll be listening to the
definitely.
podcast and everything.
Please do. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much, Mr. Brightside.
Thank
I
you.
will I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, absolutely. Be well.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye.